Okay, here's tonight's project. It's a 2007 Toyota 4Runner SR5 V6. I'll be working on the front disc brakes. I'll be replacing both the rotors and the pads. So, first step, let's remove the front wheels. Alright, here we are with the front right wheel off. Let's take a look at the brakes here. Still got a little bit of pad left, but I think we'll be replacing that tonight anyway. So bear with me as I continue on with this. Alright, so one of the first steps here, we'll be removing the pad retaining pins. So if you see right here, got pads on either side. There's a pin right here. Not sure if you can see it. Try a little light on this. There we go. So this is the retaining pin for the pads. And we got the anti-rattle clip right here. So go ahead and remove this bottom pin, and there's a top pin right there. We'll remove those out. Then these pins holding the pads in place should slide right out. Okay, so those retaining pins that were back here and there, those have been removed. So what we'll go ahead and do is remove the pad retaining pins here. Slide that right on out. Pull off the anti-rattle clip. It's basically sitting right there. Now we should be able to get the pads out. I need to release some of the pressure from the caliper pistons. You can see those on the sides here. Right in there's the pistons. So I think once we get the tension removed off these, they should slide right out. So you'll see them after they're removed. Okay, so what we're doing right now, we'll put a light on this first. What I'm going to do is, here we got the brake pads here, the other side, so what I'm going to do is relieve some of the pressure against the disc brake, or the rotor I should say. What I'm going to do is just get the pliers here, pinch it a little bit. That should get some of the pressure off the brake pad. Definitely going to have some resistance on this. There we go. You can see it got a little bit more gap there. So now, go ahead and slide the pads on out. There we go. Pads out, get the other side, and be back in a second. Okay, so at this point we're about ready to take off the caliper. So holding this thing in place, there's two bolts on the back side here. See if you can see that. There we go. So we got some upper bolts here, and there's the lower bolts holding the whole caliper assembly in place. There's one on the bottom side down there, as well as up here. So it looks like. Here's the brake line. We're going to have to remove that bolt there. I'll give it some flex so that we're not working against this very rigid piece of steel tubing. So that'll be the next step. So remove this bolt here, remove the two lower bolts holding the caliper assembly in place, and we'll be ready to take the disc off here. Okay, so the two caliper bolts I was pointing out earlier, those have been removed. So let's see, 17 millimeter sockets. These are the two bottom bolts on the caliper here. So there's, turn the light on here. So there's the bottom, top. Got a nice handy coat hanger to hang the caliper so we're not stressing the rubber hose that the caliper is connected to. So at this point, we can go ahead and remove the disc here. It should just pop right off. So let me apply a little pressure here. There we go. So there's the hub. Old disc is off. Got some motion on that. Sounds good. So let me go ahead and grab the new one, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the new discs. Got some Rebestis. Evidently they're the best in brakes, so hopefully it will stop well. Nice finish on the disc there. So we'll go ahead and put this one on and be back in a second. Okay, so there's a new disc on. So at this point, go ahead and put the caliper back on, the two 17mm bolts. Go ahead and reconnect the rubber hose mounting bolt up there. And it should be ready for the next side. Okay, so we're getting ready to put the caliper back on here. I just thought I'd point it out that this is not blood, but this is some thread locker. So this is to help keep the bolt in place once it's in. Definitely don't want the caliper coming loose on me, so just apply a little bit of that and should be ready to go. So next time we come back, then the caliper will be in place and we'll be pretty close to moving on to the next side. Next step, we'll be putting the brake pads back in, the anti-rattle clips, the pins. That's about it. Okay, so the caliper is back in place. There's the new rotor on there. It's nice, shiny, and new. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to go grab the new disc brake pads. In this case, I got some Wagner Thermoquiet ceramic. Did some reading online about these. I guess they do have some quite a bit of dust that they let off. These are my first time running these, so I guess I'll see, maybe report back how much dust I'm getting on the wheels after install. So next step, go ahead and drop those in, put the pins back on, anti-rattle, and should be about ready to go. Talk to you in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. Thought it would be good to point out that we got some anti-squeal shims that'll be going on here. So what we need to do is put some high temperature brake grease on the back of these. So the shims go on the back side of the brakes here, in between the brake pistons and the brake pads. So once we get those in place, we'll be ready to button everything back up